If you guys are cooking with olive oil or avocado oil, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a recent independent analysis that looked at the levels of hormone-disrupting chemicals in olive oil and avocado oil. And the results were pretty striking. What I'm talking about here are phthalates. Now, this is a funny word. It's hard to pronounce. It's hard to spell. The basic gist of it is that this is a plasticizer. It's found in plastic tubing. It's found in plastics. And it's ending up in these oils because in the processing of these oils, the oil is touching plastics. It's being stored in plastic or it's in plastic tubes. And you end up with an avocado oil or an olive oil that has a lot of these phthalates in it. Now, phthalates are endocrine disrupting chemicals. They're not good for humans. They've been linked to infertility, they've been linked to hormone disruption, they've even been linked to learning disorders in kids. This is a big reason that you don't want your food touching plastic if you can avoid it, why you don't want to store your food in plastic in the refrigerator, why you don't want to drink out of a plastic water bottle, why you probably shouldn't put food in plastic in the microwave and heat it up, because that's going to increase the amount of all sorts of chemicals that are hormone disrupting, including phthalates, in your food. I made that mistake a lot when I was younger, but now I know better. So let's get into these oils and I'll tell you which are high and which are low. In the description of this video, I will put a link to the original independent analysis so you can see how your olive or avocado oil stacks up. But in general, you want to be using the oils with the lowest amount of phthalates. So let's start with the olive oils. First things first, when you are picking an olive oil, you want to be a little careful. I would look for a single source, organic, cold pressed olive oil that is in opaque glass. You don't want the olive oil to be in plastic because that's already defeating the purpose. So if you can find an olive oil like that, you're off to a good start. But of that group of olive oils, you should know that some of them contain significantly more of these phthalates than others. The good news is that this Bragg's olive oil actually had pretty low levels of phthalates, around 650 parts per billion. Some other olive oils, like this Cobra Mestate, had significantly higher levels of phthalates, over 6,000 parts per billion. So this olive oil had 10 times the amount of phthalates that this olive oil did. And this olive oil, again, all of these look really fancy, had around 4,500 parts per billion of phthalates. If you just look at an olive, it shouldn't really have any phthalates in it. It's not being exposed to any plastics. It's only when you press the oil out of it and that oil is touching plastic that those phthalates can move into the oil. The levels of phthalates in these oils are actually pretty high. Even if you look at something like bottled water, you're going to see levels of phthalates like 1.5 to 4.5 parts per billion. So some of these have thousands or 50,000 parts per billion of phthalates in that avocado oil. That's significantly higher than even what you find in bottled water and plastic, because the issue here is that there's an actual attraction between the phthalates and these oils. These oils will pull the phthalates out of the plastics they come in contact with because of the chemical properties of an oil versus the chemical properties of water. So you're getting exposed to far more phthalates in olive and avocado oil in glass that has touched plastic at some point in its processing than even you would be from drinking water in plastic. There are many other issues of water in plastic, like microplastics and things I've spoken about in the past. But for phthalates, it is the fatty things you eat, especially avocado oil and olive oil, that can be a big issue. Now contrast this with studies that have been done on butter and ghee and coconut oil, even studies done on raw milk or milk, which show significantly lower levels of phthalates. So what we're talking about here are levels of phthalates that are significantly higher than what you might find in other foods, like milk, like butter, like ghee, or even coconut oil. So this is why it's important to understand that olive and avocado can be significant sources of phthalates. So let's move on to the avocado oil. I think avocados are a healthy food for humans, but how do you get from this avocado to this oil? Well, it's kind of the same way you get from this olive to this olive oil. These are all pressed and the oil that comes out is then collected. Now, some of these avocado oils are refined and some are simply cold pressed. When you're looking for an avocado oil, I don't think you want a refined one. I think you want a cold pressed avocado oil. And again, you want that cold pressed avocado oil to be in opaque glass. Now, looking at avocado oils, there was one avocado oil that had really, really high levels of phthalates. It was this Madhava avocado oil. It had over 50,000 parts per billion of phthalates in this oil. Some avocado oils were pretty good. This Nutiva only had 75 parts per billion of phthalates in it. Some are in the middle. This Chosen Foods avocado oil had a little bit over 1,000. And unfortunately, even the Primal Kitchen avocado oil had around 2,000 parts per billion. So limiting the amount of these phthalates in your diet could significantly improve your health if you have hormonal issues. In general, this could either be in the short term or the long term. But I think when you are choosing foods, it's important to hear about these independent analyses that tell you about the quality of these foods you're eating. The last thing I'll say here is that avocado and olive oil might not be great for cooking. Neither of these oils is particularly stable at temperature. Don't confuse smoke point with peroxidation index. When I'm cooking or heating oils, butter, ghee, and tallow are my go-to because they're much more stable. They have a lower peroxidation index. Olive and avocado oil have a higher peroxidation index. They are going to be oxidized. They're going to have peroxidation of the oils occurring earlier than you would with something like butter or tallow or ghee. If you look at a seed oil, that's going to have a very high peroxidation index because it is a very polyunsaturated oil. Obviously, there's no seed oils here. If you are using seed oils, you should immediately throw them out of your house and never allow anyone that bought those oils back into your house ever again. Never use the seed oils, never cook with seed oils. Preferably don't eat food with seed oils, but that is going to be a difficult thing in today's day and age, which is why we talk about these things and you guys can make intelligent, informed decisions. Personally, for cooking, I use my grass-fed beef tallow from regenerative cows from Lineage. This is a company that I built. We sourced what I believe is the best tallow on the planet. I don't think you're gonna find another tallow that is as smooth as this, that tastes as good as this, or has this beautiful sort of orange hue from the beta carotene in the cows eating grass. This is my go-to cooking fat overall, guys, hands down. The other thing to consider here is that if you travel a lot and you end up in an Airbnb like this one, there's probably an olive oil in the cabinet that's been sitting there for who knows how long, oxidizing, becoming rancid, and it might be packaged in plastic. I mean, look at this Airbnb here. There's probably a freaking olive oil right here. There's canola oil spray, that's not great. There's this, which is like an olive oil spray in aluminum container, which is lined with plastic. That's gonna be horrible. And look, there's actually a plastic olive oil sitting in the actual cabinet here that says it's extra virgin and it's cold pressed, but it's sitting in plastic and who knows how long this has been in this house. That's gonna be full of phthalates. So big problem here. If you wanna know more about the science of phthalates, just go to PubMed and type in phthalates. You'll see connections with cardiovascular health, you'll see worsening bone density, you'll see hormone disruption, you'll see infertility, you'll see potential learning disruption in children, you'll see hormone disruption, especially in young males. So these chemicals are pervasive in our culture, they're pervasive in our society. Decreasing them in all of our diets will help us all be more hormonally healthy. This is a big deal that's often being ignored, guys. So when it comes to olive and avocado oils, if you want to use these for cooking, I'm not a huge fan of that. If you want to put them on your salad, I'm not sure why you're eating a salad, but you do you. Know which ones have the lowest amounts of phthalates and the highest amounts of phthalates and make better decisions, and your hormonal health will likely be better in the long term, yours and your family's, by the way. So I'll see you guys in the next video.